Mindset, the invisible switch. Goldel key to prosperity, the power of mindset. There comes a pivotal moment in life when you realize that drifting through days on autopilot is no longer enough. You decide to take charge, not of your circumstances, your environment, or your schedule, but of your mind. This decision is the spark that ignites profound change because your mindset is the root of everything you do. It's the invisible force that shapes every thought, decision, and action. It's the lens through which you view the world, interpret challenges, and define your potential. Without transforming your mindset, no change, whether in habits, goals, or surroundings, will ever truly stick. Your mindset is the foundation where your beliefs take hold, where your habits form, and where your potential either flourishes or stagnates. It's the internal operating system that determines how you respond to failure, navigate stress, embrace opportunities, and pursue success. If your mindset remains unchanged, you'll find yourself repeating the same patterns, even in new contexts. You might change your job, move to a new city, or start new relationships. But without a shift in how you think, you'll carry the same limitations into every new chapter. Mindset is the boundary between where you are and where you could be. It's the key to unlocking a life of purpose and impact. Most people don't recognize the power of their mindset until they hit a wall. That wall could be external, a career setback, a financial loss, a rejection, or internal, like a persistent sense of unfulfilled potential or frustration that lingers no matter what you achieve. That wall isn't there to stop you. It's there to wake you up. It's a signal, a question. Are you ready to take responsibility for what's happening in your mind? Your mindset isn't fixed. It's not a personality trait or something you're born with. It's a set of beliefs, patterns, and thoughts that you can challenge, reshape, and rebuild. Those who transform their lives start by transforming their thinking. They stop reacting on autopilot. They stop clinging to outdated stories. They begin crafting new narratives, not through a single moment of clarity, but through a deliberate choice backed by relentless discipline. Many wait for external conditions to change before believing internal change is possible. They think, if I had more time, I'd be disciplined. If life were less chaotic, I'd focus. If I had more support, I'd follow through. But this mindset is backward. A transformed mind doesn't wait for the world to align. It creates alignment from within. It's not about thinking positively, it's about thinking powerfully. It's about building resilience, mastering emotions, and gaining clarity. It's about refusing to let fear dictate your choices or stress define your identity. It's about knowing who you are and training your mind to work for you, not against you. This transformation doesn't happen by accident. It begins when you decide to stop thinking like the person who's been holding you back and start thinking like the person you're becoming. You challenge every excuse, every limitation, every narrative that's kept you small. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about reclaiming who you were before doubt became your compass, before fear shaped your decisions, before the world convinced you to shrink. It's about rediscovering your power through clarity, consistency, and commitment, not fleeting motivation or hype. The journey starts now, not when life gets easier or your schedule clears. Your mindset is either your greatest ally or your biggest obstacle, and you alone decide which it will be. The path to transformation begins with awareness, not theory or inspirational quotes, but a deep, intentional understanding of how your mind operates. You can't change what you don't notice, and you can't break patterns you haven't seen. This is where the work begins, by stepping into the driver's seat of your mind and choosing to steer it toward growth. Part 1. Awareness. The foundation of change. The first step in transforming your mindset is awareness. You cannot shift what you don't see. You cannot disrupt a pattern you haven't observed. Most people live on mental autopilot, running the same thought loops, day after day. These loops shape their emotions, drive their behaviors, and ultimately define their results. But because these patterns are familiar, they feel normal. They blend into the background, unnoticed, yet they control how you interpret events, react to challenges, and pursue your goals. To break free, you must slow down and become a witness to your mind. Start by observing your inner dialogue. What do you say to yourself when things go wrong? When you face a setback, do you think, "This always happens to me," or "This is temporary and I'll find a way forward"? When you're overwhelmed, what thoughts dominate? Do you spiral into self-criticism, or do you pause and strategize? These moments reveal your mindset's default settings. They show whether you lean toward a fixed mindset, one that sees challenges as proof of your limits, or a growth mindset that views them as opportunities to learn. This isn't about judging yourself. The goal isn't to feel ashamed of negative thoughts, but to notice them early. The sooner you catch a limiting pattern, the sooner you can shift it. Each shift weakens the old mindset's grip, creating cracks where new possibilities can emerge. For example, imagine you miss a deadline at work. Your first thought might be, "I'm such a failure." But if you catch that thought, you can challenge it. "I missed this deadline, but I can learn from this and improve my process." This small pivot doesn't erase the mistake, but it redirects your energy from self-defeat to growth. To build awareness, make it a habit to check in with your mind throughout the day. When you wake up, what's the first thing you focus on? Is it a list of worries, or do you set an intention for the day? When you face a challenge, what questions do you ask? Do you ask, "Why does this keep happening?" Or, "What can I do differently?" These questions shape your reality. The former traps you in victimhood, the latter empowers you to act. Over time, this habit of observation becomes second nature. You start to see patterns you never noticed before, how a single negative thought can spiral into a bad day, or how a moment of clarity can shift your entire perspective. Awareness also means recognizing external influences. What messages are you absorbing from your environment? Are you surrounded by people who reinforce doubt, or do they challenge you to grow? What content are you consuming? Does it inspire you, or does it feed fear and distraction? Your mind is like a garden. What you plant and nurture grows. If you're constantly exposed to negativity, comparison, or chaos, those seeds will take root. But if you curate your inputs, choosing books, conversations, and ideas that align with your goals, you cultivate a mindset that thrives. This process isn't about overanalyzing every thought. It's about building a radar for patterns that don't serve you. For instance, you might notice you always procrastinate when faced with a big task. Instead of accepting this as just who you are, dig deeper. Is it fear of failure? Lack of clarity? By identifying the root, you can address it. Maybe you need to break the task into smaller steps or reframe failure as learning. Awareness gives you the power to choose, and choice is the first step toward new transformation. The beauty of awareness is that it's cumulative. Each time you catch a limiting thought, you strengthen your ability to notice the next one. Each time you question a pattern, you loosen its hold. Over weeks and months, this practice rewires your mind, making growth-oriented thinking your new fault. But awareness alone isn't enough. It's the foundation, not the house. To build a powerful mindset, you must take the next step, challenging what you've uncovered. Part 2. Challenging assumptions. Breaking old beliefs. Once you've cultivated awareness, the next step is to challenge your assumptions. Your mindset is built on beliefs, but beliefs aren't facts. They're conclusions you've drawn, often from limited experiences shaped by moments of fear, pain, or confusion. These conclusions become rules that govern your life. You believe you're not disciplined because you've struggled with consistency. You think you're not a leader because you're shy in groups. You assume you're not capable of big success because you've failed before. But these beliefs are not truths. They're stories you've accepted, often without question. Transformation requires you to interrogate these stories. Ask, who told me this was true? When did I decide this? What if this belief is outdated? For example, suppose you believe you're bad at public speaking because you stumbled through a presentation years ago. That experience became a defining moment, a law you now live by. But what if that moment was just one data point? What if your nervousness was due to lack of preparation or an unsupportive environment? By questioning the belief, you open the door to a new possibility. Maybe you're not inherently bad at speaking, you just need practice and confidence. Challenging assumptions isn't about denying your past, it's about reframing it. You don't need to pretend failures didn't happen. Instead, look at them with fresh eyes. Were they truly failures, or were they lessons? Did they reflect your potential, or did they reveal gaps in strategy or support? For instance, if you believe you lack discipline because you've abandoned goals in the past, consider whether the issue was discipline or unclear priorities. Maybe you were chasing goals that didn't align with your values, or you lacked a system to stay on track. By re-examining these moments, you can rewrite the narrative from "I'm undisciplined" to "I need better systems to channel my focus." This process can feel uncomfortable. Your mind clings to familiar beliefs because they feel safe, even if they limit you. Questioning them means stepping into uncertainty. But that uncertainty is where growth lives. Each time you challenge a belief, you weaken its authority. You create space for new ideas, new perspectives, new possibilities. Imagine you've always believed you're not creative. Ask, when did I decide this? Maybe it was a childhood memory of being criticized for a drawing. But creativity isn't a fixed trait, it's a skill that can be developed. By questioning the belief, you might try a creative hobby, discover you enjoy it, and rewrite your story. To make this practical, start small. Identify one limiting belief that holds you back. Perhaps "I'm not good with money," or "I'm too busy to pursue my dreams." Write it down and ask, is this absolutely true? What evidence contradicts it? What would my life look like if I believed the opposite? For example, if you believe you're too busy, track your time for a week. You might find hours spent on distractions like social media. This evidence challenges the belief and empowers you to make different choices, like carving out time for your goals. Challenging assumptions also means confronting external influences. Sometimes your beliefs come from others, parents, teachers, or peers, who labeled you in ways that stuck. Maybe you were told you're not a math person, or too sensitive. These labels become part of your identity, but they're not your truth. Question their origin and validity. Who benefits from you believing this? Often these labels reflect someone else's limitations, not yours. By rejecting them, you reclaim your power to define yourself. This process is ongoing. As you grow, new beliefs will emerge, and some will need challenging. The key is to stay curious, not defensive. Don't protect your limitations, question them. Each questioned belief is a step toward a mindset rooted in empowerment, not fear. But questioning alone isn't enough. To solidify change, you must take ownership of your mind and its direction. Part 3. Ownership. Taking control of your mind awareness reveals your patterns, and challenging assumptions opens new possibilities, but transformation hinges on ownership. You must take full responsibility for your mind. You can't blame others for how you think. You can't outsource your mental growth to circumstances or wait for life to align. Ownership isn't about guilt, it's about power. When you dive into it, you own your mindset. You stop hoping for external change and start creating internal change. You realize you control the narrative, the focus, and the beliefs you act on. Ownership means recognizing that your thoughts are yours to shape. If you dwell on fear, that's a choice. If you spiral into self-doubt, that's a choice. If you focus on possibilities, that's a choice too. This doesn't mean ignoring reality. Challenges, stress, and pain are real, but how you interpret and respond to them is within your control. For example, imagine you're passed over for a promotion. You could think, "I'm not good enough," and let it derail your confidence. Or you could think, "This is feedback. I need to develop new skills." The event is the same, but your mindset determines its impact. Taking ownership shifts how you move through the world. You stop wasting energy on blame or excuses. You stop feeding distractions like worry, comparison, or overthinking. Instead, you redirect that energy toward clarity, commitment, and action. This requires discipline, especially when life feels chaotic. It's easy to own your mind when things are going well, but the real test comes when you're stressed, tired, or facing setbacks. That's when ownership proves its power. To practice ownership, start by managing your focus. Your attention is your most valuable resource. Where it goes, your energy follows. If you focus on what you can't control, like other people's opinions or unpredictable events, you drain your power. But if you focus on what you can control, your effort, attitude, and choices, you amplify your impact. For instance, if you're stuck in a toxic work environment, you can't control your boss's behavior, but you can control how you respond. You might choose to set boundaries, seek new opportunities, or use the experience to build resilience. Each choice reinforces your ownership. Ownership also means protecting your mental space. You decide what enters your mind, whose voices, what content, which ideas. If you surround yourself with negativity, it will shape your thinking. If you engage with people who doubt your potential, their skepticism will seep in. Be ruthless about what you allow in. Curate your environment like a gatekeeper. Choose conversations that uplift, media that inspires, and relationships that challenge you to grow. This isn't about isolation. It's about alignment. A practical way to embody ownership is to create a daily commitment to yourself. Write down one thing you'll do to strengthen your mindset. Maybe it's reading a chapter of a growth-oriented book, journaling about your goals, or practicing gratitude. Then no matter what the day throws at you, follow through. This builds self-trust, the foundation of ownership. When you keep promises to yourself, you prove you're in control, not your circumstances. Ownership isn't a one-time act. It's a daily practice. Life will test you with distractions, setbacks, and doubts. Each test is a chance to recommit to your mind. Over time, this commitment transforms how you see yourself. You stop feeling like a passenger in your life and start feeling like the driver. But ownership alone doesn't build a powerful mindset. It requires conditioning, the deliberate training of your thoughts and habits. Part 4. Mental conditioning. Building a resilient mind. A powerful mindset isn't accidental, it's built through intentional conditioning. Just as you train your body with exercise or hone a skill with practice, you must train your mind with daily effort. Mental conditioning is about designing your thoughts, habits, and responses to align with the person you're becoming. It's about deciding what kind of mindset you want and reinforcing it through repetition, discipline, and consistency. Conditioning starts with choosing your inputs. Your mind is shaped by what you feed it. If you consume negative news, toxic conversations, or mindless entertainment, your mindset will reflect that. If you immerse yourself in ideas that inspire, challenge, and elevate, your thinking will follow suit. Curate your environment with intention. Read books that expand your perspective. Listen to podcasts that spark insight. Surround yourself with people who model the mindset you aspire to. These inputs aren't just inspiration, they're fuel for transformation. A key part of conditioning is practicing gratitude as a discipline, not a feeling. Gratitude rewires your brain to focus on abundance, not lack. Each morning, write down 3 things you're grateful for, even on tough days. They don't have to be profound. Maybe it's a warm cup of coffee, a supportive friend, or the fact that you're still here, trying. Over time, this practice shifts your default perspective, making you more resilient to stress and more open to opportunities. Conditioning also means studying your triggers. What situations make you react impulsively? Maybe it's criticism, tight deadlines, or feeling overwhelmed. Instead of letting these triggers control you, observe them. Ask, why does this bother me? What can I do differently next time? For example, if criticism sends you into a spiral of self-doubt, practice pausing before responding. Take a deep breath, acknowledge the feedback, and decide how to use it constructively. This shift from reaction to response builds emotional control, a cornerstone of a strong mindset. To make conditioning practical, create a daily mindset ritual. It doesn't need to be complex. 5 minutes can be enough. Try visualizing your goals, journaling about your progress, or repeating affirmations that reflect your new identity. For instance, you might say, "I am focused and resilient," or "I turn challenges into opportunities." These rituals anchor you in your values, especially when life gets chaotic. They remind you who you're becoming, even on days when the motivation is low. Consistency is the key to conditioning. Inspiration fades, but discipline endures. Most people start strong, fueled by excitement, but falter when the novelty wears off. To avoid this, build systems that support your ritual. Set a specific time for it, like first thing in the morning. Keep a journal by your bed to make it easy. Tell a friend about your commitment for accountability. These small structures make consistency easier, turning your ritual into a habit. Conditioning isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Some days you'll miss your ritual or slip into old patterns. That's okay. The goal isn't to be flawless, but to keep showing up. Each repetition strengthens your mental muscle. Over time, you'll notice subtle shifts. You pause before reacting. You choose clarity over chaos. You handle stress with calm confidence. These changes aren't dramatic. They're the quiet evidence of a mind being rewired for power. Part 5. Identity Alignment. Becoming who you are. As you condition your mind, a deeper transformation takes place. Your identity begins to align with your mindset. Mindset isn't just what you think, it's who you believe you are. If your identity doesn't match your goals, you'll sabotage yourself. You might set ambitious dreams, but if deep down you see yourself as unworthy or incapable, your actions will reflect that. The gap between who you've been and who you're becoming is where internal conflict lives. Closing that gap is the key to lasting change. Identity alignment means becoming the person who naturally does what your goals require. If you want to be a leader, you must see yourself as one, not someday, but now. If you want to be disciplined, you must believe you already are, then act accordingly. This isn't about faking it, it's about claiming it. Stop saying, "I'm trying to be focused," and start saying, "I am focused." Instead of, "I want to be confident," say, "I operate with confidence." These statements aren't lies, they're declarations of intent, signaling to your mind, this is who we are now. To align your identity, back your declarations with action. Small, consistent choices prove your new self-concept. For example, if you're claiming, "I am disciplined," wake up at the same time daily, even when it's hard. Finish tasks you start, even if they're small. These actions aren't just tasks, they're votes for your new identity. Each choice reinforces the belief that you're the person you say you are. Over time, these votes accumulate, making your new identity undeniable. The world may not immediately recognize your shift. People may treat you like your old self, expecting old habits or roles. This is where consistency matters. Your actions must speak louder than their expectations. If you're becoming more assertive, speak up in meetings, even if it feels uncomfortable. If you're becoming healthier, choose nutritious meals, even when others indulge. Over time, your habits will reshape how others see you and how you see yourself. Imagination is a powerful tool for identity alignment. Most people use it negatively, imagining failure or rejection. But you can use it to create your future. Visualize yourself as the person you're becoming. Picture yourself handling challenges with calm, making bold decisions, or achieving your goals. Make the image vivid, see the details, feel the emotions. Your brain doesn't distinguish between vivid imagination and reality, so these mental rehearsals strengthen your belief in your new identity. Resistance is inevitable. Your old self will fight to stay in control, whispering doubts or tempting you to procrastinate. External resistance comes too. Friends or family may question your changes, feeling threatened by your growth. Don't shrink to fit their comfort. Protect your new identity with boundaries. Say no to distractions or relationships that pull you back, not with anger, but with clarity. Over time, your consistency will either inspire others to adapt or naturally shift your circle to align with your growth. Identity alignment is built in small moments, not grand gestures. It's the choice to keep your word to yourself. It's the decision to show up when you're tired. It's the quiet resolve to act like the person you're becoming, even when no one's watching. Each moment is a brick in the foundation of your new self. Eventually, this foundation becomes so solid that doubt, hesitation, and resistance lose their power. You don't just think differently, you are different. Part 6. Embracing challenges, turning resistance into growth. As your identity aligns, you begin to see challenges differently. They're no longer threats, but opportunities to reinforce who you are. Most people run from discomfort, interpreting it as failure. But discomfort is data. Resistance is feedback. Pressure is growth in disguise. A transformed mindset welcomes challenges, not because they're easy, but because they're essential. They refine your skills, test your resilience, and deepen your identity. Challenges don't disappear as your mindset grows. They change. What used to overwhelm you becomes manageable. What used to trigger panic now sparks curiosity. This shift comes from neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to adapt through experience. Each time you face a challenge, you rewire your mind to handle stress more effectively. Your threshold expands, not because problems vanish, but because you've built the mental structure to navigate them, to embrace challenges, reframe how you interpret them. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" This question shifts you from victim to learner. For example, if a project fails, don't dwell on the loss. Ask, "What skills can I improve? What systems need tweaking?" This mindset turns setbacks into stepping stones, each one building your confidence and capability. Practical strategies help you lean into challenges. Break them into smaller parts to avoid feeling overwhelmed. If you're facing a daunting task, list the first 3 steps and focus only on those. Celebrate small wins. They build momentum and reinforce your growth mindset. Also, practice self-compassion. Challenges are hard and it's okay to struggle. Acknowledge your effort, even if the outcome isn't perfect. This keeps you moving forward instead of getting stuck in self-criticism. Embracing challenges also means accepting failure as part of the process. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's a component of it. Each failure teaches you something, whether it's a better strategy, a clearer goal, or a deeper understanding of yourself. For instance, if you launch a business and it flops, the experience might reveal gaps in your market research or planning. That's not a dead end. It's a roadmap for your next attempt. Over time, challenges become less about surviving and more about thriving. You start to seek them out, knowing they're the fastest path to growth. You take on projects that stretch your skills. You have tough conversations you once avoided. You pursue goals that scare you. This shift isn't reckless, it's intentional. You trust your ability to adapt, learn, and overcome because you've done it before. The cumulative effect of embracing challenges is profound. Your resilience deepens, your confidence grows, your identity solidifies. You become someone who doesn't just tolerate pressure, but performs under it. This isn't about ignoring pain, it's about refusing to let pain define your limits. Challenges are your training ground, shaping you into someone who rises, not shrinks, when life gets tough. Part 7. Building a supportive environment. The power of proximity. A transformed mindset is powerful, but it's amplified in the right environment. The people, places, and ideas you surround yourself with shape your thinking more than you realize. If you're surrounded by negativity, doubt, or low standards, your mindset will struggle to thrive, no matter how strong your discipline. 2. Sustain transformation. Build an environment that reflects your new identity and supports your growth. Proximity is power. The people you spend the most time with influence your beliefs, habits, and aspirations. If your circle dismisses your goals or clings to comfort, their energy will pull you back. Seek out people who challenge you, who live at a high standard, who care more about your potential than your comfort. These aren't just friends, they're catalysts. They hold you accountable, inspire you to stretch, and model what's possible. For example, if you want to start a business, connect with entrepreneurs who've done it. Their insights, encouragement, and example will accelerate your progress. Building a supportive environment isn't about cutting everyone out, it's about being intentional. Evaluate your circle. Do they reinforce your old self or push you toward your future? If someone consistently drains your energy or doubts your vision, set boundaries. Limit time with them, not out of judgment, but alignment. Invest in relationships that energize and challenge you. Join communities, online or in person, that share your values, whether it's a mastermind group, a fitness class, or a professional network. These spaces create a culture of growth, making high standards feel normal. Your physical environment matters too. A cluttered space can clutter your mind. Organize your workspace to minimize distractions and maximize focus. Add reminders of your goals, a vision board, a sticky note with your values, or a book that inspires you. These cues reinforce your mindset even on tough days. Also, consider your digital environment. Unfollow social media accounts that breed comparison or negativity. Follow creators who share wisdom and motivation. Your phone is a constant input. Make it a tool for growth, not distraction. Creating this environment takes effort. You might need to say no to invitations that don't align with your goals. You might face resistance from people who don't understand your changes. Stay firm. Your environment is your foundation. If it's shaky, your mindset will wobble. Over time, as you surround yourself with growth-oriented people and spaces, you'll notice a shift. Growth becomes easier. Accountability becomes natural. Your standards rise because everyone around you is rising too. This doesn't mean you need a perfect environment. Life is messy, and not every relationship or space will be ideal. The key is to maximize what you can control. Find one mentor, one group, one space that lifts you up. Start there and let it ripple. A supportive environment doesn't just sustain your mindset, it multiplies it, creating momentum that propels you toward your potential. Part 8. Sustaining transformation. Making growth. The default, transforming your mindset, is a journey, not a destination. To make it last, you must design a life where growth is the default. This means building systems, habits, and rhythms that reinforce your new mindset, even when motivation fades or life gets hard. Sustaining transformation isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional, staying aligned, and adapting as you grow. Systems are the backbone of sustained growth. A system is a repeatable process that makes your goals easier to achieve. For example, if you want to stay focused, create a morning routine. 10 minutes of journaling, 10 minutes of reading, and 5 minutes of planning your day. Schedule it at the same time daily to build a habit. If you want to improve your health, set up a system, prep meals on Sundays, keep workout clothes by your bed, and track your progress weekly. Systems reduce reliance on willpower, making growth automatic. Habits are the building blocks of systems. Start small to avoid overwhelm. If you want to read more, commit to 1 page a day. If you want to meditate, start with 1 minute. Small habits compound over time, creating big results. For instance, reading 1 page daily becomes 12 books a year. The key is consistency. Do it even when you don't feel like it. Habits don't require motivation, they require commitment. Tie new habits to existing ones for easier adoption, like meditating right after brushing your teeth. Reflection is critical for sustaining transformation. Without it, you risk drifting. Set aside time weekly to review your progress. Ask, what's working, what's not? Where am I slipping into old patterns? This isn't about self-criticism, it's about course correction. For example, if you notice you're procrastinating, reflect on why. Maybe you're unclear on your priorities or afraid of failing. Use this insight to adjust, break tasks into smaller steps, or reframe failure as learning. Reflection keeps you aligned with your vision. Adaptability is also key. As you grow, your goals and challenges will evolve. What worked at the start of your journey might not work now. Be willing to update your systems, habits, and beliefs. For instance, if a morning routine no longer fits your schedule, shift it to evenings. If a goal no longer excites you, reassess your values and set a new one. Transformation is dynamic. Stay flexible to keep growing. Community plays a vital role in sustaining growth. Surround yourself with people who hold you accountable and share your standards. They don't just support you, they challenge you to stay true to your vision. If you stray, they'll call you out, not to judge but to help you realign. This could be a mentor, a peer group, or even an online community. Their presence creates a culture where growth is expected, making it harder to slip back. Setbacks are inevitable, but they don't define you. Doubt, failure, and fatigue will come. What matters is how quickly you recover. A strong mindset shortens recovery time. When you stumble, don't spiral, reflect, learn, and act. Each setback is a chance to deepen your resilience and refine your approach. Over time, you'll realize setbacks aren't obstacles. They're part of the process, shaping you into someone stronger. Sustaining transformation means living with purpose. Clarity about your values, what matters most to you, makes discipline automatic. When you know why you're showing up, you don't need motivation. You act from identity, not emotion. This purpose fuels you through tough days, reminding you that every choice, no matter how small, is a step toward your potential. Part 9. Scaling impact. From personal growth to influence as your mindset transforms. Its impact extends beyond you. You begin to influence others, not through preaching, but through living. Your clarity, discipline, and resilience become a model for what's possible. This isn't about seeking followers or validation. It's about recognizing the responsibility that comes with growth. Your mindset is contagious, and how you show up shapes the people and spaces around you. Influence starts with authenticity. When you live in alignment with your values, people notice. They see it in how you handle challenges, how you treat others, how you stay calm under pressure. You don't need to announce your transformation, your actions speak. For example, if you're a parent, your commitment to growth shows your children what discipline looks like. If you're a colleague, your focus inspires your team to raise their standards. Your presence becomes a mirror, reflecting possibility back to others. This influence can be uncomfortable. Not everyone will celebrate your growth. Some will feel challenged or threatened, not because they dislike you, but because your change highlights their stagnation. They might question your commitment, mock your ambition, or try to pull you back to old roles. This is where boundaries become essential. Protect your energy by choosing who you invest in, limit time with those who drain you, and pour into relationships that reciprocate growth. This isn't selfishness, it's self-respect. Leadership emerges naturally from a transformed mindset. You don't need a title to lead. Leadership is about setting a standard, living with integrity, and showing others what's possible. When you embody your values, you give others permission to do the same. For instance, if you stay composed during a crisis, you create calm for your team. If you pursue your goals relentlessly, you inspire friends to chase theirs. This ripple effect is the true power of mindset. It doesn't just change you, it changes the world around you. To scale your impact, be intentional about your influence. Share your journey, not to boast, but to inspire. Tell a colleague how a new habit changed your productivity. Post about a book that shifted your perspective. Mentor someone who's struggling with doubt. These small acts plant seeds, encouraging others to take their own steps. But influence isn't about convincing, it's about modeling. Live so consistently that your example speaks louder than words. Your impact also grows through contribution. As you gain clarity and strength, ask, how can I serve? Maybe it's volunteering, starting a project, or creating content that shares your insights. Contribution amplifies your purpose, connecting your personal growth to a larger mission. It's not about scale, it's about meaning. Helping one person can be as powerful as inspiring thousands. Scaling impact requires balance. Don't sacrifice your growth for others' approval. Stay grounded in your values and let your influence flow naturally. Over time, you'll see your mindset's ripple effect in your family, workplace, and community. Your discipline becomes someone's standard. Your resilience becomes their reason to keep going. This is the legacy of a transformed mindset, not just a better you, but a better world. Part 10. Living with conviction. the new you at some point, your transformed mindset becomes your default. You no longer question whether you'll succeed. You live from conviction. You don't seek external reassurance. You trust your internal compass. You don't just think differently, you exist differently. You move with purpose, act with clarity, and navigate doubt with power. This is the culmination of your journey, not because life becomes easy, but because you've built a mind that thrives in any circumstance. Living with conviction means embodying your identity fully. You're no longer trying to be the person you aspire to, you are that person. Your decisions are clear, not because they're effortless, but because they're aligned with your values. You no longer overthink or hesitate, paralyzed by fear. You trust your process, your vision, and your ability to adapt. This clarity frees you to scale your time, energy, and impact, unburdened by self-doubt or distraction. Challenges still come, but they don't derail you. You welcome them as opportunities to practice what you've built. A setback isn't a crisis. It's a chance to apply your resilience. Uncertainty isn't paralyzing. It's an invitation to create. You perform under pressure, not because you're fearless, but because you've trained your mind to lead, not react. The world no longer dictates your pace. Opinions don't hijack your focus. You've chosen your standard, and nothing external is stronger than what's inside. This is mental freedom, walking through life with agency and intention. You've stripped away mental clutter, quieted the noise, and found peace, not from avoiding conflict, but from trusting your ability to face it. You don't chase validation or hustle for identity. You know who you are, what you stand for, and what matters. Your decisions become simple, guided by a clear sense of purpose. Living with conviction doesn't mean perfection. Doubt, fatigue, and mistakes will still arise. But you've shortened your recovery time. You don't spiral, you reflect, learn, and move forward. Each stumble deepens your resilience, reminding you that growth is a cycle, not a straight line. You stay hungry, not out of lack, but out of purpose. You know there's more inside you waiting to be unlocked. Your mindset now carries a responsibility. People watch how you live, not just what you say. Your discipline sets a standard. Your clarity creates calm. Your commitment inspires others to rise. This isn't pressure, it's purpose. You show up, even when it's hard, because your growth impacts those around you. Your family, colleagues, and community feel the ripple effect of your transformation. This version of you is a leader, not through titles, but through example. You elevate every room you enter, not by speaking loudly, but by living authentically. Your presence speaks, your mindset speaks. You've transformed your mind, and with it, your path, perspective, and potential. There's no going back, not because you can't, but because you won't. The old you, driven by fear and doubt, no longer leads. Now you do. You decide, create, and rise, every day, without compromise. This isn't the end. It's a new beginning. A life driven by internal strength and external purpose. You're not waiting for permission or hoping for ease. You're building certainty, embodying your worth, and creating a legacy of growth. Keep refining, not because you're not enough, but because your potential is limitless. Your mindset is your edge. Guard it, grow it, and let it lead you to a life that reflects your highest vision. Conclusion: the journey forward. The transformation of your mindset is a lifelong journey, not a destination. Each step, awareness, challenging assumptions, ownership, conditioning, identity alignment, embracing challenges, building a supportive environment, sustaining growth, scaling impact, and living with conviction, builds on the last, creating a cycle of continuous evolution. Your mindset is your greatest asset, but it requires constant care. Guard it with intention, refine it with discipline, and expand it with curiosity. You've challenged old beliefs, rewired your thoughts, and aligned your identity. You've faced resistance, built systems, and created a life where growth is the default. You've seen your influence ripple, inspiring others to rise. But the journey doesn't end here. There's always another layer to uncover, another level to reach, another way to grow. This isn't about chasing perfection. It's about honoring your potential. Stay hungry, not out of lack, but out of purpose. Keep asking, what else am I capable of? Let this question guide you, not from ego, but from a deep belief in your possibilities. Your mindset is your compass, your anchor, your edge. It's the force that turns dreams into reality, obstacles into opportunities, and potential into impact. You are no longer the person who waited, doubted, or shrank. You are the creator of your story, the leader of your life, the architect of your future. Every choice, every moment, every challenge is a chance to live this truth. Keep showing up, keep deciding, keep rising. The world needs your clarity, your strength, your vision. Your mindset has transformed you. Now, let it transform the world.